Hello guys, today we are looking at the iScooter T4, an electric scooter that with a motor of up to 1000 watt of peak power and a large 600 watt-hour battery, or this sounds like a serious beast for the city and the dirt roads on paper. At the first glance it seems robust, aggressive and ready to swallow both bad asphalt and the dusty paths without much philosophy. But can it really offer up to 70 kilometers of driving, safety and comfort, and that real off-road feeling? Or is its strongest assets just its striking appearance? Be sure to watch this iScooter T4 video review. The box itself suggests that is no light playful city scooter waiting inside. The scooter seems massive, and the weight itself, when taken out of the packaging, confirms that this is a model that was built with the emphasis of robustness, not ultra-light portability. Now, along with the scooter itself, we also get a box with the accessories like a T4 user manual with the rest of the paperwork, spare in a tube, a hard travel case that we will install on the scooter. This is a tool bag, and finally a battery charger with the adequate EU adapter. The scooter comes pre-assembled, which makes our job much easier. The T4 feels massive, and the weight itself, when taken out of the packaging, confirms that this is a model that is built with emphasis on robustness, not ultralight portability. Basically, everything is assembled just fit the handlebar. After 10 minutes, we are already on the road to get our first impression of our iScooter T4 model. And the first impression is really positive, because the scooter looks more powerful than many models in this class usually look in person. The T4 gives the impression of a model that visually plays on a card of a strength and off-road character. The T4 looks wide, solid and very convincing. It has this small SUV on the two wheels effect, where its proportions already suggest that urban bumps or poor terrain will not easily spoil its mood. The frame is made of aluminum alloy, and already at first contact it seems solid enough for the instills confidence. There is no feeling that you are standing on something thin or too light. On the contrary, the construction seems serious, especially when you consider that this scooter also carries larger tires, stronger suspension and a higher overall weight. All this together gives the impression that the T4 was designed as a model that must withstand more loads and more diverse driving conditions than classic urban scooter. One of the things I really like about the T4 is platform. It's spacious, wide and gives you a lot more freedom than narrow city scooters. Ergonomically speaking, this large platform contributes a lot to the overall impression of the ride. On the short distances it provides safety, and on the longer rides it helps you not to get tired too quickly. The T4 plays a very good game here and takes the part of the experience to a higher level. The steering wheel of a T4 feels wide and gives a good sense of control, which is especially important when riding on poorer surfaces at the higher speeds. The controls are arranged in a way that you quickly understand where everything is. On the left side are the brake, bell and control panel, while on the right are the throttle and the second brake, which gives a slightly motorcycle-like feel. In practice, you get used to it relatively quickly. Everything is designed so that you can use every function at a time without thinking. The screen is one of those elements that leaves a good impression as soon as you start the scooter. It is centrally located, large enough, clear, and the information is arranged so that you can catch it at a glance without taking your attention off the road too much. It shows the speed, battery level, active driving mode lights, distance travel and a few other useful data, which is very practical in everyday driving. The heart of this scooter is the rear hub motor that develops 500 watt nominal and up to 1000 watt peak power. And that's not just a number that sounds good on the paper. When riding, you can clearly feel that the T4 has more energy than the average city scooter. The start is lively, the throttle response is decisive, and the scooter seems ready to pull away without much thought. The motor does not seem to immediately enter a flight for survival. It has reserve and you can feel it. It is not a brutal beast, but is powerful enough to make the ride feel comfort and confident. The legally limited maximum speed of this model for road use is 20 km per hour, which is in accordance with the German regulations covering technical approval and safety standards for the use of electric vehicles and additional equipment on the road. And although at the paper this figure may not sound spectacular to someone chasing many numbers as possible, in practice it's quite sufficient for everyday city driving and safe movement through the traffic, bike paths and local routes. What is more important than the number itself is the way the scooter reaches those 20 km per hour. The T4 reaches the maximum speed very decisively and with a feeling of ease. It does not struggle, does not drag out acceleration and does not leave the impression of sluggishness. This is why it seems livelier when driving than the maximum speed itself suggests. The 48 watt and a 12.5 amp hour battery or 600 watt hour seems like a reasonably compromise between capacity, mass and price. In everyday use, it gives the impression that the T4 is capable of longer distances and not just for a short jump around the neighborhood. Charging takes about 4 to 5 hours, which is quite fair for this class. The declared range is 60 to 70 km according to the factory specifications. Certainly, the T4 seems like a scooter that can offer quite serious range for everyday needs. The 10-inch pneumatic off-road tires are one of the biggest advantages of this model. As soon as you start riding, you can feel how much this combination of size, air in the tires and more serious profile means. The tires absorb small bumps better, offer more grip on poor surface and gently give the ride a much softer and safer character than solid rubber alternatives. And the suspension is another segment where the T4 really shows why it looks the way it does. The striking front and rear shock absorbers are not just a visual decoration, they really made difference in the ride. When you go over bumps, joints in asphalt or rough sections on the road, you can feel the scooter is not trying to transfer all the force of the impact directly to your hands and knees. Of course, you should not expect miracles like with the much more expensive and even more serious off-road machines, but for this class and this concept, the T4 offers a very convincing level of comfort. Furthermore, the combination of mechanical disc brakes at the front and the rear with electronic braking gives the more sense of control that is extremely important on a heavier scooter. In practice, the brake feels reliable and progressive, but we still expected it to have a little more bite. However, since it can reach higher speeds, you can always be able to stop in time. The lighting on the T4 contributes to both practicality and safety. The front light, rear LED light and turn signals give it a more serious traffic character. The T4 leaves a modern and traffic-conscious impressions here, which we really like. In the city, the T4 behaves very convincing, easily following the rhythm of the city driving, and due to the large platform and good suspension, it seems safer and more relaxed than many smaller models. Also, as soon as you get off the asphalt and onto gravel, you can feel this scooter makes more sense than a typical urban model. The tire suspension and robustness of the constructions help to keep the ride controlled and relatively comfortable. However, it's important to remain realistic. The T4 is off-road inspired and certainly handles rough terrain better than average, but it is not an extreme off-roader for brutal jumps or aggressive riding on wild tracks. It works best as a model that seamlessly combines asphalt, gravel and everyday bed roads, rather than a pure specialist for extreme conditions. The greatest strength of this scooter lays in the fact that it offers a very convincing package for users who want more than an ordinary city model. It has a strong appearance and an excellent combination of tires and suspension, a large platform and a really fun driving feel. It works safely in the city, it does not lost on the gravel, and equipment such as turn signals and a clear screen make it even more serious and practical. Let's not forget that the T4 can be folded quite quickly and without too much complication. The mechanism works simply and practically, so the scooter can be prepared for storage in a few steps in the trunk of a car, a corner of the garage, or someone's small space at home. So if you are looking for electric scooter that doesn't look or ride like another generic city scooter, but rather something more robust, comfortable and ready for a variety of terrain, the iScooter T4 is definitely a model worth considering, especially if you are looking for a combination of road legality, good equipment and a really affordable price. The purchase link and all the additional informations are in the description below, so be sure to take a look if you like this model, but don't hesitate too much because supplies are limited. Buy your iScooter T4 today because spring and nice weather are coming. That will be all for this review, and we'll see you soon in the next video review. Until then, bye.